was always the Jags.
It's always the Jags. It's always the Jags.
Always the Jags.
Welcome back into Always the Jags, your podcast for everything Jacksonville, everything Jaguars, everything Duval. With the Colts' emergence, I feel a lot better about our playoff chances going into this Texans game 2-0 than I do with us going 1-1. Now, again, I think we're a middle-of-the-pack squad. I think we're 1-1. I think there's a chance we could squeak into the playoffs. And I think my projections, like I had us beating the Chargers. I don't know about that anymore. But I did have us losing to the Cardinals. I don't really know about that anymore because the Cardinals aren't exactly the steamrolling, opponents. I think we can go back and forth with the Cardinals pretty easily. So there's a lot to consider and for us to take a look at. But overall, we should have won that game. We know we should have won that game, and it slipped through our fingers. And now the only question is, how's the rest of the team going to respond against the Texans? And I think the keys for beating the Texans is going to be the run game, because the Texans, I think they've been able to stop the run pretty effectively, but their strength is their secondary, right? And their only weakness is their interior, because their edge guys are good, but their edge guys are better at getting to the quarterback than they are at defending the run. So again, if we're able to exploit that a little bit and continue to use Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. in ways that, we should never, the worst thing that could happen is for the Texans to feel like they can leave Brian Thomas Jr. in single coverage with Derek Stingley, or leave Travis Hunter in single coverage with Kamari Lassiter. That will be bad, because that means they don't fear our receivers going deep. Because what we need to do against them in order to stress and test their defense is stretch the field with those two and hit them with a punishing ground game, right? So don't let their corners play up, stretch the field, and use, dump off screens, just use their speed to make the defense defend the whole field instead of stuffing the box, right? Because we've become a much more ground and pound outfit that maybe a lot of people were expecting, but the threat of those receivers is still there. It's not like they just disappear, right? And so now, again, if the receivers were showing better hands, maybe it would threaten the defense a little bit more. But that's the time to strike, right? If they are stuffing the box and allowing receivers to get free, Trevor checks to that play and lets it fly. And let's let our guys go make a play and get them that confidence back. Because they have the capability and the talent. It's not that's not a question. It's just something mentally is preventing the physical ability. And Brian Thomas Jr., he kind of needed to make a move in order to get that first down. A lot of people thought he would have fallen on it. And I think he just tried to make the move before he made the catch, which we see happen in the NFL all the time. Pressure mounting, 4th and 5, all of that. Honestly, to me, that wasn't as egregious of a drop as Diami Brown's. In the end zone, nobody around you. You beat your guy off the line, put the ball in your hands. We're not even in that situation to begin with, right? To me, that's where it really starts. But this is with the game on the line. And some people were right. I've heard commentators say maybe it was a better idea to kick the field goal, because then now your backup quarterback has to drive the length of the field knowing that he has to have a touchdown instead of knowing that he just needs a field goal. And it changes up that mental part. Analytics can't really quantify for. And so kicking the field goal there, it's I understand Liam Cohen going for it, but I'm also I think if the plan was to go for it on 4th down, I don't think those were the right play calls, because when we lost 4 on the first play, the next play I would have ran a simple pass play to try to pick up 4, which I think they did and maybe just wasn't executed, and that's why Liam Cohen started getting all excited on the sideline. But to me, you don't run it on 3rd and 14 if you're going to pick up the 4, because LaQuint Allen, I love LaQuint Allen, by the way. The way he picks up blitzes, he's like a 6th offensive lineman. I love him, right? He's great. And the only reason why I'd be okay with getting rid of Travis is because LaQuint Allen needs to be on the field more often, because he's the best blitz picker-upper I've seen in a long time. So anyway, back to how we stress out the Texans. Right now, the Texans, I think, are this year's almost version of the Jets. And I hate to say it like that, but someone made up a good point. The Jets, they always say defense wins championships, and we hear that a lot. And that's kind of what the Jets believed, right? When they had a strong defense, and they went and got Aaron Rodgers to supercharge their offense. They had a top flight wide receiver. But it felt like they kind of built with the shiny stuff first, and then kind of tried to put the foundation after, right? So they got the shiny wide receiver. They got the shiny quarterback. shiny running back, and what's there left? Oh, the offensive line. Okay, let's just fill in some stuff, and it's not working, and it's messing up the entire offense. I think the Texans are experiencing that too. C.J. Stroud, shiny quarterback, number 2 overall pick. Shiny wide receiver, Nico Collins. Running back, Joe Mixon. Now it's Nick Chubb, but Joe Mixon was kind of the shiny running back. But the offensive line can't do anything. So it almost doesn't matter. There's no foundation to build on. So, but even still, the Texans offense is still going to stress the Jaguars defense because Nico Collins is a beast. So we're going to have to cover him. We're going to have to double him. Now, fortunately, no one else really stresses you out that much. And so I think it would be a good test to let Travis Hunter shadow Nico Collins and give Travis Hunter help, right? And let the safety. So Travis Hunter will know he has safety help, but going against Nico Collins all game will make him better. And then I think that we can allow Tyson Campbell to lock up whoever the number 2 guy is, whether that's Christian Kirk, because I think he's going to be back this week, or one of those rookie wide receivers. Let Tyson Campbell, one-on-one. I think I'm fine with that. Eric Murray is playing a lot better than I thought. Maybe he can give us some pointers on how to get past that Texans defense, because their defense looks good. Like the Texans defense is good. But again, the problem is, and I think the problem that they experienced in that Buccaneers game, when your offense can't help out your defense by giving them time to rest, because the defense loses gas, offense doesn't. And that's what we experienced ourselves in 2017 to 2018. We had a great defense in 2017. The reason why it fell off in 2018 and then was completely gone by 2019 was because our offense in 2018 couldn't do anything. They couldn't move the ball. They'd be going 3 and out. The defense has to get right back out there. Defensive linemen are not meant to play the entire game over and over and over again. They're meant to play, get off the field. Their entire goal is to get off the field. If you let your defense get gassed, your defense isn't going to be as good. So I think we're starting to see that with the Texans defense. That's what happened on that last drive against the Buccaneers. They were gassed. They were tired. The offense didn't give them enough time to recuperate, and Baker Mayfield went down the field for the craziest drive I think you'll ever see. So there's a lot of different things. And again, going back to the Bengals game, to pick off Jake Browning 3 times and not win. I mean, I think Liam Cohen did a great job talking to his guys after the game. And again, when I look at our schedule coming up, the Colts are going to be tougher than I thought. We might end up splitting the series with them. I think we definitely need to sweep the Titans to have any chance of the playoffs. We need to at least split with the Texans to have any chance of the playoffs. And I do think there's some games that could still go our way. The Seahawks look a little tougher. I picked us to win. I don't know about that one. The Cardinals, I think we end up winning, but I do think we end up losing to the Chargers. I was kind of fearing the Raiders for a second, and then after watching the Chargers play them, I think we'll be able to handle the Raiders. And the Broncos don't really look as good as we thought they would be, but I still think that they're going to win up in Mile High. So, the only kind of game that we could maybe snatch is probably the 49ers game with Mac Jones playing if we end up splitting with the Colts. That's how razor thin the margin of error to get into the playoffs is. So being able to get this one would have meant huge, especially because the Bengals might be the team that we're fighting with for the playoffs. So we'll see. Again, kudos to Jake Browning and everything he did, right? I mean, he made so many mistakes in that game, but he stood up and continued to fight. I just can't believe we let him beat us twice. And that's a sobering reality Jaguars fans have to deal with. So let me know your thoughts. Are the Jaguars going to beat the Texans? Officially, I will take the Jaguars to win over the Texans. I think this is in our home stadium, and I think we're going to avenge Trevor Lawrence from the hit that he sustained last year. And I think, we have enough guys on offense to remember that and remember when it happened. And again, I don't necessarily think that Shaair was trying to hurt him or take him out or do damage to him. I just think he hit him too hard. It's just that simple. Whether it was on purpose or not, he hit him too hard. And we're not going to forget that. And I think we're going to come away with a win. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to come down to the wire like the Jaguars-Bengals game did. That was stressing me out the entire time. So let me know your thoughts. And never forget, it was always the Jags.